All right, ready to dive deep. Today it's Robbie Davidson, this documentary filmmaker, stirring things up by, well, challenging how we think about science.
And deep dive is right. This is going to take us right to the edge of like, what even is science? How should we use it to understand the world? You've given me a ton on his films, the reactions, the works.
Yeah, and everywhere I look, this word keeps jumping out. Scientism. Almost like he's saying there's regular science and then there's this other thing. Scientism, treated like some kind of, I don't know, unquestionable belief system.
It's fascinating. And get this, his own story makes it even more interesting. Before filmmaking, Davidson was actually immersed in the science world himself.
Oh, really? So he's not coming at this as some outsider who never, really got science? Tell me more about that.
Right. The bio you found mentions a big life change becoming a Christian at 21. Adds a whole other dimension, wouldn't you say? Like he's wrestled with these questions from both sides now. What's truth? How do we decide that? The whole deal.
Okay, so we've got Davidson, former science guy, has this big change, then dives into documentaries, questioning everything we think about science. And his film, Scientism Exposed, seems to be the centerpiece here. We could say those reviews are wild, some life-changing, others, well, let's just say they don't agree.
That's what you get, right? Challenge the core of what people believe in, things get heated. But the real meat here is how he defines scientism. It's not just science got this wrong. It's deeper, like science itself, the way it's often presented, becomes this rigid belief system, almost like a religion itself.
Instead of just, science being wrong sometimes, it's more about how it can shut down other ways of knowing, other perspectives.
You got it. And he's saying the scientism blinds us to other explanations, especially those fitting with, well, his own worldview, which comes from how he interprets the Bible. The film's like a direct challenge to some big deal scientific ideas.
So, beyond disagreeing with a few studies, this is about totally different ways of seeing the world, huh? Give me an example. What's a scientific truth he goes after in the film?
One that jumps out, and it's all over these reviews, is the Earth being flat. He's right there with it.
Hey, hold up. Seriously. The flat Earth thing? I mean, I knew it was going to be something big, but that's not, wow.
Might seem out there, sure. Got people talking for sure.
Yeah.
But it gets to the core, see?
Yeah.
Davidson links this to how he reads the Bible, very literally, puts him at odds with, the whole round Earth thing.
So the flat Earth is almost like what's the word? A symbol for this bigger point about scientism. Like he's saying, if you tell me to blindly trust science, even when it clashes with my faith, how is that different from blindly trusting religious dogma?
Exactly. He's making us look at our own beliefs, science, religion, whatever, asking, how do we know anything? Are we willing to question that, even when it's uncomfortable?
He's not afraid of a little or a lot of controversy, that's for sure. Makes you think, though. But there's more, right? This goes beyond just the flat Earth.
Oh, absolutely. He hits on a bunch of concepts, but one that really stood out, especially in these reviews, is his take on the Big Bang.
Ah, yeah, the Big Bang. That's pretty fundamental stuff to be challenging. What's his problem with that?
Well, just so everyone's on the same page, the Big Bang Theory, it basically says the universe started from this crazy, dense, hot state billions of years ago, and it's been expanding ever since. It's kind of a big deal in how we understand the cosmos.
Right. And it explains a lot of what we actually observe out there. So where does Davidson go off script?
He sees it as, well, clashing head-on with a literal reading of the Bible's creation story. Basically, he's saying believing in the Big Bang takes its own kind of faith in scientific models that he thinks go against a more literal understanding of Scripture.
Okay, I'm seeing how he connects the dots here. Not just rejecting the science, he's offering a whole other framework built on how he reads the Bible. So much to unpack here, taking on the science world, offering different explanations, and asking us to really think about what we believe, why we believe it. It's a lot.
And that's what makes Scientism Exposed, and honestly, all his work so interesting. It's not about, do you agree with him about a flat Earth or the Big Bang? It's about realizing there are always multiple ways to see the same information, even scientific data.
So even if someone watches this and says, Robbie, good points, but I'm sticking with what most scientists say, there's still value in hearing him out.
Totally. It makes you ask yourself, what's underneath my own worldview? Am I open to other ideas, even if they challenge what I thought I knew? Those questions, they matter way beyond one film or theory.
It's like he's saying, don't just take my word for it and don't blindly trust what anyone says, textbook, scientist, whoever. Go find out, think for yourself, decide what you believe.
Exactly. And that's powerful, no matter what your beliefs are. It's about being involved in how you see the world, not just swallowing what you're fed.
Kind of ironic, right? By saying we're too trusting of science, he might actually make people engage with it more thoughtfully, really wrestle with the evidence.
That's a good point, because real science, it's about questioning, challenging, always refining what we know. It's not dogma or blind acceptance. It's about the journey.
It's about discovery, even if it means rethinking everything. That's something to think about. Well, we've certainly covered a lot of ground today. If this deep dive into Robbie Davidson and scientism has shown us anything, it's that the line between science and what we believe is a fascinating one to explore. And maybe, just maybe, questioning that line is what leads to the most interesting discoveries of all.